You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Good morning and welcome to Old Town Cleveland here on WOOP FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.woopfm.com. Yes, my throat is going away, and it may not be here but later, but we'll get through there. What's the phone number there?
The phone number is 614-5553, or if you happen to be out of the area, 423-614-5553.
Real quick, last night, Bradley High School won their first-round playoffs. What's the final score, Arnold?
41-34.
Cleveland was winning, but was tied with 2 minutes to go in and lost by 2 touchdowns last night, 48-30-something.
48-28.
28, okay. So Polk County got beat. Memphis County stopped whoever they were playing, still in there.
Yeah.
Red Bank's still in it. Chattanooga Central come back to win 1 by 3.
One on the last play of the game.
Well, that's a way to do it.
Could tie it up with a field goal, and Coach Braswell said, nope, we're going for the win.
Well, that's good, you know. That's real good when you score. You're a dog when you don't.
Absolutely.
So that's football scores. And, of course, today Tennessee will be playing Southern Miss. Anybody know what time and where?
7:30 tonight on the SEC Network.
SEC Network.
So you'll be able to watch it and scream obscenities at the TV instead of just listening and screaming obscenities at the radio.
Delightful.
Right. Well, this is a good year for football. Of course, you know, Butch Jones.
We're rebuilding.
Butch Jones on the hot seat.
We're rebuilding.
The hot seat or the hot stove?
Stove, I don't know. But anyway, I think his buyout's $9 million. You know what I said? Fire me. For $9 million, you can have my job. What's that old song about Johnny Paycheck? Take this job and shove it. Hey, we're going to talk about East Cleveland today. Got 2 guys that grew up in East Cleveland, one right in the city limits, one right outside the county limits over there. John Cook, the county boy, and Arnold Tarpley, the city boys. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I know John lived there with a couple of brothers and sisters over right by East Cleveland School, right?
1 or 2, yeah.
How many were they total?
8.
8, okay. Arnold, you lived back over towards right at the railroad tracks, didn't you?
Well, I lived on Poplar Street, which was actually the last street inside the city limits.
Okay. I thought you were a little closer to the track, but that's close, though.
That's about, it was 3 streets over, but it's actually, when you actually look at it, it's about 4 blocks from the actual railroad tracks themselves, if you count it that way.
Now, where did you go to grammar school?
I went to Mayfield.
Okay. Was Allen still open in, or was that closer? Or?
Yeah, that was already closed at that particular time,
closed,
I think. My Aunt Hazel, which has been on the show before, she attended Allen, as did her older brother, but when I come along, we'd switched over to Mayfield.
Okay, and then, John, I guess you went to East Cleveland School since you was about 3 doors down.
Yeah.
Predated the song.
Yeah. John, you know better. The answers are not yes on here.
East Cleveland was my primary educational institution.
Who's those guys?
I went to several.
Who was some of the guys you went to school with over East Cleveland?
One's in jail or out of jail?
Well, being in jail.
That was crude. That was crude and rude. I went to school with Vernon Krause and Randy Norwood, Mike Morton, and Hollis Talent, and Steve Self,
I don't know the Self family over in East
Vernon
Cleveland.
Krause, Buddy Smith. Well, no, Buddy Smith was Big Springs. We went to school with him at Big Springs Elementary. Alan Haney, all that group.
Half those are pretty good people.
Yeah, it's about 50-50.
Guess which ones are not good.
They know who they are.
Terry Rowland.
Terry Rowland, yeah. Arnold, who'd you go to school with over your side?
Probably Elam Ingram was one that I went to school with. We was buddies at that particular time. Tim Bryant. Then you got into some of the other kids from that went to Mayfield, Whitney Shelton, Jeff Helton, a name that you don't hear very often anymore, Parks Philire. So that, he passed away when we was in the 5th grade. So young death right there, but I was in classes with him.
You lived in the city but ended up at Bradley High School. Is that correct? Did you go to Cleveland for a year? Or?
I went to Mayfield, then, which was 1st through 5th at the time. And then went to Arnold, which for the 6th grade year, and then switched to Cleveland Middle for 7th and 8th. And then decided, I don't want none of this Blue Raider stuff. I'm going down to black and gold.
Cleveland Middle. How old are you?
Oh. I mean, how old was I?
You must be a young snapper.
Yeah. Well, I attended Cleveland Middle the 2nd year is in existence, and I started at Bradley the 2nd year that it was at the new school. So
we didn't have a middle school, Ron.
No, we didn't. We went 8 grades through grammar school, and then we went to high school.
I finished up my last 2 years at Big Springs Elementary, 7th and 8th grade, and then it's straight on to Bradley.
So it was
a culture shock. We didn't have that middle school to wean us in.
Yeah, that's...
Got to the high school and said, what the hell are these lockers for?
It was to put all your books and papers in you didn't want to carry to school.
So what am I supposed to put in there? I brought my guitar and put it in there. Are you eating candy on the air? Because I'm hearing you crunch over here.
It's good.
M&M?
He caught me earlier while I was putting white
I'm
chocolate.
trying to get my throat so it'll work. I have to go to cough drop here next.
Well, I hope it's good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
That hard candy shell.
Yeah.
Well, I posted promoting the program on Facebook. I put you guys were going to be here talking about East Cleveland. And the picture I put underneath there is sort of the East Cleveland symbol, Dooley's Ice Cream.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're from East Cleveland, you went to Dooley's. At some time or another, you was at Dooley's.
Well, I think no matter where you were in Bradley County, you didn't get to go as often as you guys did. I lived out on Spring Place. I was a country boy, and we got to go once a month, maybe go by Dooley's on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, that was pretty much a Sunday afternoon thing for us. That's one of the few treats that we got was Dooley's ice cream about every Sunday evening.
Well, now, had the ice cream went up any when you were younger, Arnold? Was it still a nickel a cone?
I think it was a dime a cone at that time.
So he is young.
Inflation.
The inflation got us.
Well, now, John, you was 8 brothers and sisters. How did you come up with a nickel?
Selling Coke bottles. Like everybody else.
So some people don't know about is that all bottles were returnable. And,
Absolutely.
did you ever play the game? You'd get a bunch of boys together, and we'd all have a Coke bottle, and you'd bet on who has the bottle that's furthest away.
Yeah.
So you turn it over, and it'd say Atlanta, Georgia, or Philadelphia.
Yeah, we did
Cleveland.
that all the time. That was mainstay thing. We'd go down the road and find a Coke bottle in the ditch where somebody crazily threw it out. We'd stop and get it because that was snack money.
That's cash, yeah.
Hey, we gambled for those bottles. Those bottles were serious business. Get down into a good marble game for all your bottles.
Yeah.
Of course, you had to keep that one special bottle for spinning the bottle.
I never played that.
I did with the little girl next door.
Did you
There's
win?
Only 2 of us.
Oh, well,
Only two of us.
John
playing.
always won.
Somebody was getting kissed.
John always won.
Yeah, of course, there'd be two people I'd spit in. It'd point that halfway between us. And, yeah. Did you have rules for that?
Nope, no rule. Just whoever it landed on got a kiss. So we did a lot of kissing.
So
Nobody else allowed to play.
East Cleveland was. Did you feel the difference between East Cleveland and going across the tracks? Was there a different group of people lived there, or they thought they were different?
I don't know if there was.
I think back during that time,
some
communities
difference
were a lot tighter back then. It
Yeah.
didn't matter really which community you lived in. I don't think it was.
I
pretty.
I never really thought there was a whole lot of difference going across the tracks there in the local area. Now, sometimes you'd feel a little bit of difference when you be in school with some of the kids that were from more fluid areas, but that kind of smoothed out over time. By the time I was in middle school, that wasn't really an issue anymore.
We didn't cotton to those types.
Well, you was at East Cleveland there. That was all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was your principal at East Cleveland?
You know, I was asked this once before, about a year ago, and I couldn't think of her name then. I can't think of it now.
So what year was it?
That's what happens when you turn 63.
What year was it?
This has been in 63.
63.
Forward along in that area.
Who was your principal over at Mayfield?
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson. What a name.
I think there's probably not very many people in Cleveland that doesn't remember that name. He was principal for a lot of.
Now, see, that'd be an
Students.
easy one.
Yeah.
That'd be an easy one to remember.
Not the tallest human being I ever met.
No.
Woodrow was
He
a little
could swing
short
him,
guy.
but he had good leverage on that paddle.
Oh, I bet he did, yeah.
Now, my favorite teacher over there was Mr. Mantooth, Randall Mantooth. That's my buddy. Still is.
Randall Mantooth.
Oh, yeah.
Now, had Earl Rowland came over yet?
No. I don't think so.
I think he was coming about the time you was leaving for high school.
Yeah, about the time I was leaving. Maybe the year before.
So who's your favorite teacher over at Mayfield?
I don't know that I had one favorite. One of my better teachers that I liked probably better about anybody else was Hoyt Ward. He was fifth grade science and math teacher. And first grade was PE teacher. So
The
Well, Mr. Mantooth, I've stayed in communication with ever since elementary school. He'll always call me up and have a new picture or something he's found and want to share it or invite me to the reunion. Hadn't really heard anything about a reunion this year, but in the last few years, these Cleveland schools had a couple of reunions.
yeah,
so is of course the original Mayfield's sort of gone now. They got a new Mayfield school.
yeah.
East Cleveland's something else now. It's a Head Start.
Yeah, I think it's a Head Start right now. They've been closed down for a while, which is sad. It's always sad when your hometown school closes down, but that's progress, right?
I guess you call it progress, as she said in Wild River. Progress. Something I always wonder about, I know you guys probably went in downtown, rode your bicycle into downtown. You had to go to the spot and all the little snack shops. I mean, at the drugstores. Went seen the Princess Theater. But was there places to eat over at East Cleveland on that side of the tracks, or did you have to go across the tracks to find something to eat? And it was in a neighborhood.
They're probably the only thing in within range of me going pretty much was probably Dooley's. As far as anything else, if you wanted to eat any kind of a meal or something, you pretty much had to go downtown to Earl's or the Grand Lunch or Wooten's.
Yeah, those were the closest places. Dooley's is really, you had a couple, there was a little pool hall about 2 streets behind us there of Galton. They,
Yeah,
the little, I can't remember, it's a little white building, but
yeah.
they serve a mean grilled cheese sandwich.
But it wasn't. It wasn't.
fries.
It wasn't a place that we would go very often.
No. And you could go up to Garen's Grocery
Yeah.
if you wanted to get a sandwich, but anything else, you just head down. It wasn't that far, really, to go across the tracks and trip to the Grand Lunch or Central
If you was
Drug
riding a bicycle
Store
today,
or-
it'd be a long way for you, wouldn't it?
Today?
Yes.
Oh, going down to the garage is a long trip today. But
But
we didn't think anything about it then, and a lot of times we just wouldn't even take the bike. You just head on into town, walk downtown. And you had right when you went under the tracks, you had the drugstore there on the left. And then you
Lord.
had Lay's Five and Dime
snack houses in there.
and Snack House and Grand Lunch, and now the White Spot we didn't go into. That was mostly for the beer drinking, pool shooting.
Yeah.
Go down in the basement card playing group, but and then the Spot, and of course down to the Village. There were several places inside the Village where you could go, but everything was right downtown. Favorite place was the Grand Lunch, though. Get those 25-cent hot dogs.
You didn't think any more of walking downtown
No.
than we think about walking in from the parking lot here at that time. You know, it was just, our
was
family
an
had
all-day
one car,
Saturday
so
event.
and Dad drove it to work. So if you went anywhere, it's either by foot or by bicycle.
It was an all-day Saturday event. You get up early Saturday morning. Usually myself and my brother Alan, we'd take off to town. We'd sell those Coke bottles all week long. Come up with enough to go to the matinee down to Martin on Saturday, and then a trip to the Grand Lunch. And if you were lucky, just enough to run on down to the Village. There was a place called the Hobby Mart.
Hmm.
I think it's called the Hobby Mart.
Yeah.
Go in there and
We're
look at
in the
all
hobby park right now.
Yeah, actually, this is where it was. And
Mr. White rented it.
stroll up and down Swiss Alley for a while, just check everything out.
Used to be the village cafeteria down there. I never went there much, but
The bowling alley downstairs.
you had to play pinball.
Yeah.
And, of course, at the end of down here was Cole's drugstore. They always had a snack bar.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kresge's had a snack bar.
Most all the drugstores did. Central Drug had one of the best little,
Mr. Stickley.
best little burgers around.
Went to, then you had the Coles downtown, which had a snack bar, and Woolworths downtown had a snack bar as well. So,
And then there was Dooley's drugstore downstairs, right across from the Spot.
yeah.
People used to talk about getting their pimento cheese sandwich.
Mhm.
Everybody had a snack bar.
And you had, of course, I never ate there, but you had the little restaurant there at the Cherokee Hotel as well.
I never went in there either.
No, not me either. That was probably out of my price range. We usually had a budget of about $1.50.
The Grand Lunch, I remember,
That'd do us all day Saturday.
I was a country boy, of course. Coming into town to go to the Grand Lunch was a big deal. But you got there and you walked in, and there's a couple guys standing at the front, and you tell them what you wanted, and you sit down, and they put it in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. I mean, if you said meatloaf, beans, taters, slaw, there it was in front of you.
Yeah.
They were there to get you in and out.
They wasn't there to waste time.
But I didn't know until after I'd done the documentary about eating there that the Grand Lunch also served adult refreshments.
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't know that till you guys started talking about it.
You didn't notice all those little brown bottles coming across the counter?
Hey, I was a young fat boy looking at food.
Yeah.
There was nothing else more interesting.
My
Yeah.
dad would usually take Alan and I down there on Friday afternoon. They would cash your payroll checks there, to get your business. If you were a regular customer, they would. So that's where Dad would cash his payroll check. He'd take Alan and I there and let's get a hot dog and a drink, and he'd suck down a couple of cold ones and play the pinball for a few minutes and tell us not to tell Mom, load us up and take us home.
You got to eat supper then.
Heck yeah. That's why we didn't tell.
How far, when you was on bikes or walking, how far could you go away from home, and how long could you be gone before your parents even know you were gone?
Far as you could get, and well, with 8 of us, probably a week. I know after a few days, Mom might get to missing you, but she really wouldn't get too concerned.
Get the count
About a
going,
week.
did you?
Yeah, my range was, as I got older, my range expanded, and by the time I was 9, 10 years old, that's pretty much wide open anywhere I wanted to go. Of course, in those days and times, kids were relatively safe out running around. It's a whole lot different than what it is today.
I know I walked from
No cell phones, so they
Yeah.
didn't know where you were. You
from
just
Dirt Key
walked
to Spring
town.
Place is a half mile to Oak Grove School. I'd walk to school every day and
Uphill.
walk back. Half mile on that little Dirt Key road. Now, if you have kids right now, how far do you let them out of your yard without them being watched? First off, you don't let them out of your yard anymore.
No, that's the first thing you say. Don't get out of the yard.
Yeah, we, of course, I had to walk to Mayfield. At that time, you didn't have bus service within a mile of the school, and we was within a mile of the school. So I always had, out from the first grade all the way through, I started going to middle school. I always walked to the school
Oh, yeah.
and back. So
First time I ever rode a bus was high school.
my first bus experience was middle school because
Bradley High School. That's the first time I ever rode a bus. I thought, man, it's kind of dangerous on here.
We're going to go ahead and open up the phones now. Tell them what that number is there, Morgan.
That number is 614-5553, or if you're out of the area, 423-614-5553.
And if you have any questions or thoughts about East Cleveland, give us a call here now. And or if you want to talk to John Cook or Arnold Tarpley, just call in and say, "Hey, Arnold." That's all
Hey,
it
I like
takes.
to talk. Hey, Arnold.
hey,
Like the 90s.
there's an old show I used to be.
Hey, Arnold.
There's been a couple of TV shows over the years that have got me in some hot water with some of that stuff.
Arnold, let's tell everybody where you work at now, what you do.
I work for the assessor of property. Been there for about 17 years. Since 2002, this stint. Spent about 7 years there when Mr. Elrod was assessor. So,
Well, and I will tell everyone, if you're calling about your city taxes going up, Arnold's office is not the one to call. They did not raise your taxes. They evaluate your property, and then the city sets the tax rate. So if you did see a tax increase in your city taxes, you can call Arnold, and Arnold will say, "Here's the city's telephone number."
exactly. No, we will own any difference in the appraisal that
Right.
took place. We will own that up. We'll deal with whatever is on that. But if your taxes just went up, you're preaching to the choir right here, because I live in the city as well, and I got hit just like everybody else did.
Me too.
And I was at the meetings along with a lot of other people.
Real quick, if you're when they do an appraisal of your property, the city and the county, under state provisions, should lower their tax rate so that the appraisal did not raise taxes.
Yeah, it's called the certified. Most people call it as the certified tax rate law. It's also called the tax fairness and equalization law. And what that is geared to do is that any time that you have a property reappraisal and your assessments change upwards or downwards, a lot of people got caught with this during the recession, that their assessments actually went down, but the wholesale government as a group is held harmless from any changes in that. So you actually have to generate a new rate that, coupled with the new assessments, to generate the same amount of revenue to the governing body as they received the previous year.
So the city raised the tax rate.
All righty, caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, it's clear as mud.
Go ahead, caller.
Yo, caller. Are you there?
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah. Call back in just a sec.
Try it again there. We'll see if we can't get you on.
We might have had a technical difficulty.
We do
Most likely.
sometime.
All right.
There.
Caller, you're hopefully live now on Old Town Cleveland.
Sorry about that. I missed the number. I would like to ask Mr. Tarpley a question.
Sure.
Can he hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Lynn Nolan. Now, my grandmother was a Tarpley. I was just inquiring if maybe they were related.
Hey, let's put it this way. I've not found any Tarpleys in our region that we're not related to in some form or fashion. It kind of depends on exactly which branch you came out of. Our branch came out of Ducktown.
Okay, my grandmother lived in Fannin County.
Yeah, most of the Tarpleys came out of Fannin County at one time or another. There's about 3 brothers that lived there, Mason and Mason Green, and I'm trying to think of that. The other one's slipped my mind right now. But those 3 boys had a number of boys, and just about everybody in this area came out of those 3 that came into Fannin County from North Carolina and Virginia.
Yeah, she was married to Bryce Green.
I remember hearing the name. I think that's kind of one of those distance cousins, probably somewhere along the 4th or 5th cousin from my particular branch. Probably have to go back about 3 or 4 generations to tie them up.
Well, the reason I'm asking, I heard you on there before, and I was going to do it then, but I never could get through. But like I say, I was raised in Copper Hill, but my grandmother lived in Fannin County.
Yeah, we had most of my family, I go back to Augustus, and his family is buried at Pleasant Hill there in Polk County, right on the line, and our family was actually, my grandfather's and great uncles was all buried on born in a house right there on the Georgia-Tennessee state line. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the information, and thank you for the time.
You're most welcome.
Have a good day now.
You too.
See, you find relatives.
Yeah.
We do it all here on.
Yeah.
We find lost dogs,
Yeah.
lost relatives.
If we find ex-girlfriends, then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about ex-girlfriends.
I'm sorry.
No comprende.
We won't talk about ex-girlfriends on here.
Let me tell you. Morgan, you don't know this yet, but someday you'll get married, and you'll get in an argument with your wife, and all she has to do is mention the name of your ex-girlfriend, and the argument's over.
Gotcha.
You just shut up and go on. Isn't that right, John?
Okay.
Just okay.
Your wife's out of town. You can say anything you want to.
Well, you never know if she's
She might be,
listening or
yeah.
not.
Well, it's my wife's out of town, too, and I had something to say.
Let me put it this way. Don't ever call your wife by your ex-girlfriend or ex-wife's name.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
Oh, no.
That would be terrible. Anyway.
Did it.
Anyway, caller, you're now live on Old Town Cleveland.
Is that Johnny Cook down there?
That's Johnny Cook.
Hey, John.
Yep.
How you doing?
Then all right.
Darn, you got a good voice. A darn good voice. Anyway, what I always just want to know about East Cleveland, I was raised up over there on the outskirts of Gum Holler.
Oh, yeah.
I was raised up to a teenager. But what do you want to know anything about the east part of Cleveland? Anything. Ask me anything.
I would imagine you'd probably know a lot about it. Is this Sydney?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Hey, my grandson stole my cat scam.
That's a shame.
When that happened.
That's a darn shame.
That's terrible.
Playing any music lately, Sydney?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, yeah. But I ain't been able to record nothing. John, I'd like to have one of them old 15-inch reel-to-reel TX with Simon Synchronization and stuff like that on it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember them things?
Oh, yeah. I've still got my old reel-to-reels. I've still got my old 1974 realistic quarter track.
Sure enough.
Don't get rid of those things.
Let's make a CD, man.
You never know when some old fart's going to come up and say, "Hey, can you play this quarter-inch tape?" I said, "Sure can."
And I bet you don't have to back up and re-record much with me. I've been practicing up quite a bit on banjo.
I don't back up good anymore anyway, so.
Yeah.
Well, all he has to have a beeper on when he does it now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's do something and get rolling on that dobro.
All right, man.
And I can do that banjo anything on the banjo. I got a challenge right now. Any banjo picker down there, any banjo picker, $500. I want you, Ron Moore, who's that other guy down there with you? Arnold. I want y'all to be the judge.
Have a banjo picking contest.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
That's bold there, Sid, because I know some pretty good pickers.
Hey, I'm master of the day. I've won contests in Hiawassee, Georgia. I've got plaques on the wall. Well, okay, let's back up on that a while. Maybe we're not. I know you probably know some pretty good banjo pickers, but I can still do smooth and never miss a note. I just don't need to drink none before I do it. Well,
When would that be?
do what?
When would that be that you're not drinking?
Lots of days I don't drink all down. My God, I've got a hard job at Catnapper Engineering.
Well, we got at 7 o'clock in the morning would be a good time for the contest, right?
I'll probably have to be at work, but listen, let's don't do the contest this year. Let's try to cut a CD. I guarantee I can put the backup banjo parts in there, but when it comes my time, I'm going to let it battle around now. I own two banjos, though, Gibson Mastertone 19, what is that thing, 1960?
Yep.
And then I own a Sterling that Ed James offered me $5,000 out of his pocket.
Who did? Terry James?
No, Ed James.
Oh, okay.
Well, now, Terry James is my nephew.
Yeah, I know that. I used to listen to you
Yeah.
guys pick.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'd have to check to see if he had $5,000 in his pocket.
You know, I'm tempted to do that because I got to be honest. See, I started into this melodic stuff and chromatic, all of them down in there, whatever. And then Earl Scruggs style, too. We can have it like Earl Scruggs style. Now, anybody wants to challenge me and stay Earl Scruggs style, yeah, I'll take that challenge. I'll take that. I'll do that. I'll bet that $500.
All right, Sid, I'm going to find you somebody here, but we got to run right now. Got some more callers.
Okay.
We'll see, buddy.
Take it easy, Sid.
When we going to get together?
Hey, just give Ron a call and we'll set something up.
I won't be drinking. I don't drink all the time. I won't be drinking.
All right.
We'll hold you to that. See you, brother.
I will be.
Bye-bye.
Chromatic. I used to date his sister.
Crow.
Yep. Old man Chromatic's daughter.
We don't supposed to talk about women we dated.
Why not? I'm 63 years old.
He's just looking at him. Just
There was a
because
there was a time in my life when there was a lot of things I couldn't talk about. I'm 63. Be 64 in May. I can talk about anything I want to now. See? That's the great thing about being this age. We don't have to impress anybody anymore. Everybody that's impressed by us has already been impressed. There's nobody new to impress.
At 63, you can scratch where it itches, don't you?
Now, if it itches, scratch it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Hey,
Got kind of quiet.
just that thought.
So, somebody asked me what we was going to
Gracious.
talk about this morning. I said, we're supposed to start with East Cleveland, but where it goes, there's no telling. with
Okay,
that.
here comes another phone call.
All righty. Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
How you doing, Morgan?
Hey, I'm making it, brother. How about you?
Good. How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing super.
John, how you doing?
Let me check. Okay.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Brett?
How you doing, Arnold?
I'm doing good, Brett. How are you?
Good. Getting ready. I have some final scores from last night.
All right, tell us.
Dallas Bennett beat Udawal last night. Can I tell you the final?
Yes.
30-7.
All right.
That's a good one.
Guess what? Sets up for next Friday.
We go play Dobbins Bennett.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Dobbins Bennett and Bradley will play up at Dobbins Bennett.
That's the bad thing about that game from last night. We have to go to Dobbins Bend instead of Ottawa coming to see us.
Yeah. And Bradley ended up winning 41-34.
Were you there?
No.
You wasn't there. I was wondering where you were.
No, I was listening in on the radio on WGW.
I didn't think I saw you prowling those sidelines last
the
night.
Bears are going to take Dobbins Bend down.
Could be.
I got a feel. It could be gas, but I have a feeling.
And Cleveland lost too.
Yep.
28-42. It's gonna be Maryville and Farragut playing.
Good ball game.
Who you got for that, Brett?
I'm going with Farragut.
Good pick there.
Yeah. Hey, Morgan, I was gonna tell you I got a new trailer, Morgan.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, we got a new trailer.
Sweet.
Yeah. It is nice talking to you guys.
All right, there.
Good talking to you, brother.
Thanks for the sports update.
All right, you too. Bye, Morgan.
Bye-bye.
Brett Whitehead, the roving sports reporter,
Always on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
I think I'm going to modify the wires in my headphone amp.
Oh, brother.
We've done it before. Back to East Cleveland.
I'm a rebel.
Well, we got the
To
phones
this
ringing now.
caller.
I'm a rebel and a hellraiser.
All righty, caller. You are now live on Old Town Cleveland.
Just one more time and I won't bother you. Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
I can take a demo tape to Nashville to Susie Marshall. You ever heard of her? Susie Marshall. And she owns a big recording studio over in Nashville. I've been over there. I didn't have nobody to go in there, but I don't have to pay. I've got offered a free, like a contract. In other words, if I make well, she was wanting to hire some of her engineers to go along with me when she heard me pick over the phone. And her name is Susie Marshall. Susie Marshall. Stamp her up. And I forget the name of the big recording studio she owns. And she's got like engineers like you wouldn't believe. But I could take the tape over there, and she said she would promote it, the tape, or the CD, whatever, and make a whole bunch to promote it. And if we used all the original stuff, we could make some stuff like, does your chewing gum lose its flavor over the bedpost overnight? And stuff like that. And if we used all original,
I got a really good deal with Capitol Records.
Sure now.
Yep. They said I could buy 10 CDs for a penny as long as I agreed to buy 5 more at full price for the next 5 years.
Oh, God. No,
They just don't give that deal to everybody.
Oh, they do not.
we don't have to buy.
No, you got to be 18.
She's going to promote this.
I'm good. I'm 19.
She's going to promote this.
Well, man, that sounds good.
Susie Marshall.
Susie Marshall.
Johnny,
Yeah,
stamp her up
I'll do it.
on your phone. Susie Marshall. Susie Marshall in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'll look her up.
Look her up, man. She's a hottie too, and she's been trying to get me to come over, but she said if you come over by yourself, even if you want to do other people's songs, we can have our engineers, we can have even players come out there and play with you, and all that. She wants $1,500 for that, and
Sound like a good deal.
but I could like take a CD over for free, and she would promote it, whatever that means. She would promote it. She'd put it out. She'd play it on the radio stations. She would play it on the radio station, and she would promote it. And I know we could come up with a darn good CD, because I've heard the songs you do, and you wouldn't believe what a banjo in the background would sound like. So many country songs right now.
Yep, Sid and John,
If you'll listen.
just the greatest team in the South.
Yep, especially Blake Shelton, and it's got so much banjo in their songs.
Blake Shelton. I dated his daughter.
You kidding me? Well, I met him. He's a good friend of mine. I've met a lot of people over at the Great Rap. Anyway, I got to meet Jerry Douglas. You ever heard of Jerry Douglas?
Yep.
Well, that's who Ron needs to get him a CD or two by. If he's going to play dobro, he needs to get him a CD by Jerry Douglas. Anyway.
All right, Sid, we got other people wanting to call here.
I know it. I'm sorry taking up time. But, John, I'm serious. Are you?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Just when you get ready, it's easier if you get a hold of Ron. He knows how to get a hold of me. I'm usually out all the time.
Yeah. Give me a call off there, and I'll give you John's number. We'll see you later, Sid.
We'll catch you around, Sid. Anyway, back to East Cleveland.
Where's that at?
Obion Way.
Right over there.
Oh,
Do you ever know the mayor of East Cleveland?
well, was it Bid or
Itself.
Bid
Mayor of
Self.
East Cleveland.
you was running for political office? You had to make a visit over to see Bid.
I miss Bid. She was something else.
What was her sister's name?
Sue.
Bid and Sue. Yeah.
Matter of fact, every now and then Sue, she'll call into the show here, doesn't she?
I think she has before. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're
Well,
out,
she's listening. Make a call.
if she's listening, give us a call. Sue can tell y'all about East Cleveland.
Well, Sue could tell
She
stories
can tell you
about
the things that you shouldn't tell.
Sue, Bid and Sue are under that rule that it takes a village to raise a child, because she'd beat any of you, wouldn't she?
Oh yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a lot of those in East Cleveland.
What's the little store right near your house over there, Arnold, and Poplar? It was right there at near M.A. Thomason's house.
It was Jack Owens Grocery.
Jack Owens Grocery.
Jack and Dot ran that little store for years and years on Galt Street. Vest Grocery's up on the
Right.
corner, and then you had Jack and Dot down there, and that's where we wound up most of the time doing our trading.
Garen's Grocery was the spot for us. They were just 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Of course, now, East Cleveland had one thing that the rest of Cleveland, Tennessee didn't have.
And?
We had an event where people from all over the world came, not only just Bradley County, but, Africa and England and you name it. And that was the
Zimbabwe?
assembly, the world, Church God. Was it Church God? Church God Prophecy.
Church God Prophecy.
The World Assembly. When they would have that, man, you talk about the place would shut down.
MC
That
Hedrick
was,
had a store there.
That was probably one of the biggest influx of income into this county as anything that's ever happened.
Ever
It
will
was
see
an
again.
event. If you had a spare room, it was rented out. There were street vendors set up and down.
If you
There by
wanted
the
to
old
have an exciting
Tabernacle.
time, you run over by the Tabernacle. If you wanted to,
You didn't even have to
didn't
be
want to get in the
religious.
crowd, you went the other way.
Yeah, you didn't have to be religious. You just hang outside and roam up and down the streets and all the vendors.
I understand MC Hedrick had a store there,
Yeah.
and he rented booths
He did.
outside of his parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And people had little
Yeah.
barbecues, and of
And
course,
so-
Dooley's had that
It was
Dude,
ice cream cones out front.
Yeah.
Right across the street.
Not ice cream, but ice.
Lasted an entire week. I'm talking about thousands
Okey-doke.
of people.
Let us get this caller. Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
It was called the Assembly,
Yeah. The
Church of God Assembly.
Church of God Assembly.
And I went to it, and that was a time in Cleveland where
Sorry, the line got cut for a second there.
All right. There literally was thousands of people there.
Yeah, I dated most of them's daughters.
John was a dating fiend over there.
Yeah.
Well,
John, there's one thing happened at your house over at East Cleveland School. It's a classic story.
just one.
Well, this is a classic of all classics. It's a Christmas story, and we're getting towards that season. But you're
Thanksgiving yet, though.
well, I know, but this is what you got to hear. Your mom and dad went and got you went out in the woods and found a Christmas tree like you used to do. You didn't go to town or had an
Oh
artificial.
no, you didn't go to town.
Well, tell us about that story.
Back then, you got together and went out and took an axe and snuck on somebody's property and cut down a tree. But we'd gone out and found the perfect tree, cut it down, brought it home. Set the sucker up,
Nailed it to the floor.
nailed her to the floor. I remember a lot of those trees. And, of course, if you find yourself a good bucket and some rocks, you stick it in there. But we didn't know what a tree stand was. Hell, you didn't need them. But we put the tree up without realizing it. It apparently had a couple of praying mantis nests in it. And being during the winter, those things weren't going to hatch out, but brought the tree in, got it good and warmed up. And, back then, the lights that you put on the tree were about the size of your thumb or bigger.
Wait, there were praying mantises on your Christmas tree?
We heard a blood-curdling scream about 2 o'clock in the morning. My mom had got up to get a drink, and thousands of little baby praying mantises had hatched. And they were crawling across those light bulbs and casting huge demonic shadows all over the walls. Just thousands of them. Mom didn't know what it was. She Mom was a very, very, very staunch
Could make a horror
Church of
movie out of
God
that.
Pentecostal lady. So her first thought was, demons, but it turned out to be praying mantises.
Same difference.
Did
So
you
here's-
just give them little Christmas hats and
yeah.
everything?
2 o'clock in the morning, we're hauling the tree out in the yard and swatting little praying mantises all over the walls. And of course, now reflecting off the light, it looked like there were more than there probably was. But it was definitely a Clark Griswold scene. If they'd have thought of that, they'd have wrote it into the movie.
John, I got another question for you. Did you and Ray,
Yeah.
Or Alan.
Did you see this?
Ray or Alan, whatever he calls himself this week?
Alan Ray. Well, his name's Alan Ray. It just depends. It just depends on the situation whether you called him Alan or Ray or both. If you call
Or AJ.
if Mom called him Alan Ray, then there's some trouble coming down. But
Was there ever a time that you and Alan thought you could whip your daddy?
oh yeah,
How'd that come out?
had to come out.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got our butts nailed in the front yard. We it was during our hippie days. He didn't like the long hair, and once I turned 15 years old, I was a pretty big boy. So Ray and I decided we weren't going to take it anymore. I just told him, you need to lay off the hair. We were big enough to whip him. So he drug us both out in the front yard and laid one on us. Mom stopped it, though, thank God. Sweet lady.
Anyway, caller, you are now live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey, y'all, it's RD.
Hey, RD, how you doing?
Doing good. Well, semi-good. Yeah, my pop passed away Wednesday night.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Dealing with that. Well,
We'll dedicate our song to him here today.
appreciate that. What you just mentioned, the praying mantis
Yeah.
thing, that year, God, 20-something years ago, a guy I worked with taught me that trick. He said, if you ever get into it in a no-win situation with an organization you can't do anything against, like a bank or a car dealership or something, he said, that's an excellent vengeance trick. He said, you can get praying mantis egg sacs from garden supply shops. You just put a couple, 2 or 3 of them in your pocket, and you go sit in the lobby, and there's always some place in there that doesn't get swept or cleaned, and you just put those back there. After about 2 weeks, and things will hatch out.
They will.
And you won't have a woman that'll come in that building for weeks. I said, that's the cruelest, most brilliant thing I've ever heard.
I love it, actually.
That's
A
great.
few places just popped in mind.
Yeah, that still works today, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. But, man, we had them once that tree got inside, and after it had been inside for a couple of days and warmed up,
Oh,
those things hatched out. Man, it was a sight to see.
I remember years ago I was working in Nashville, and they had the super hatch of those gigantic red bug-eyed cicada bugs,
Uh-huh.
and they were everywhere. I mean, it was like the correspondence of like a 9-year, 13-year, and 17-year cycle, and there were millions of them. So I come walking in this building with my tools and work on a phone system, and her secretary was sitting there, and she looked up smiling, and she goes, "May I help you?" And started screaming. I mean, just, wow. Well, I started screaming. Ah! I'm like, what is happening? We're getting robbed, and I'm spinning around like, is it, we're going to be attacked? And I'm like, what is it? And she goes, it's one of those things. And it was one of them sitting on my shoulder. Well, it took off flying around in there, and it cleared out that whole office. There was people trying to pound down doors to get out of there. I'm like, it's just a bug, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
RD, you said that was in Nashville?
Yes.
I was over in Nashville when that swarms were coming, and you'd walk between buildings. It felt like I hit 1,000 times by those bugs hitting you.
That was back in early 80s.
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get away from them. So I just remember, Rich, there was just pandemonium in there. Everybody was just knocking stuff over, trying to get out. And I'm like, it's just a bug, it's just a big bug,
They were actually louder than the traffic in downtown Nashville.
Oh, yeah, they were just, there was no getting. They'd drive you crazy after a while listening to them. So, well, y'all have a good show. Y'all take care now, and I'm going to listen for your song here.
Thank you, RD.
All right, y'all take care now. Bye.
There's when Hall Chevrolet built the new dealership up on 25th Street, moved up there, there became a place that you did not park when you drove up there to the front of the building. And it was a bush on the right hand, or if you drove up to the building, it was on the left-hand side of the building. The salesman would be out working the lot and everything, and you'd find praying mantises around on cars and stuff as it's parked out there. They would catch those praying mantises and take them up there and put them in that one bush. So you didn't park next to that bush because you could wind up with praying mantises in your car.
You know, I was talking about that the other day. I hadn't seen any praying mantis in a while, or the, what they call the stick bugs. I didn't see any of those this year. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
They've been deported.
May have. I remember the biggest one that I think I ever saw was on the a wall downtown, and that sucker was about 3 to 4 inches long. That was one big ugly one.
Well,
Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Don't kill me, Ron. But let me fill you in on these.
Said you can't call every 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Moving along. Arnold, did you ever try your dad?
No, I knew better. Because even at 60 years old, he could still outrun me.
I know John knew my dad. My dad was 5'6", about 125 pounds. And there was no way I thought I could whip him.
Oh, Dad worked in that body shop his whole,
Yeah.
virtually his whole adult life. And he had a fellow employee by the name of Jim Cross. And Jim Cross was probably around 5'10", 5'11", probably go 230, 240 at that particular time. And I saw my dad pick him up and carry him across the building.
I think I could take him now. Dad, if you out there listening,
Your dad's 83 now.
I'm headed. Well, yeah,
He just like
It'd be a good
marches
fight.
in. He just marches in and goes, bring it.
it'd be
It'd be a good fight.
a fair fight.
Yeah. My dad, when he got out of Korea, went to work for Volunteer Electric, and he put power poles in the ground. They didn't have those trucks that did
Yeah.
it. He did it by hand.
Yeah.
So his arms looked like Popeyes.
He
The
just
rest-
walked up carrying a power pole and stuck it in the hole.
That's about what he did.
That's a good story.
I'm going to stick to it.
I like that.
But
I think I remember seeing that guy. You don't see a whole lot of guys going down the road carrying a power pole.
They'd put 3 or 4 of them and it'd stand it up, put it in the hole.
Yeah, Dad, if you're listening, I'm coming for you. I was just over there.
I'd like to see that
I was
fight.
over there. It'd be funny. I hit him with my chain.
I think the money's odd.
Money's even.
Yeah. Go ahead, dude.
No.
No,
Don't have anybody, though.
we didn't have anybody.
He's at work calling himself now.
We finally got to him. He's talking to himself. All right.
No, I'm going crazy.
oh,
Yeah,
Got to
Dad,
get a cough drop out or I ain't going to make it.
I'm coming.
Hey,
for
folks, we're talking about East Cleveland area. If you grew up in East Cleveland, give us a call. We'd like to hear about your experiences at East Cleveland School, or if you went over to Mayfield, or if you used to attend Allen.
yeah.
And I don't know if there was any other schools that closed in that area over there.
Allen, probably Allen and Mayfield, and then East Cleveland were the closest schools over there. Then you have to go down to probably Blythe would have been the next, and
Right.
Templeton Hill would have been the next closest schools.
Yeah, Templeton Hill had been closed sometime.
Yeah. And then you had Arnold School and George R. Stewart at that time, but those were pretty much the elementary schools around that part of.
Yeah, the number here is 614-5553, or if you're out of the area.
423-614-5553.
And next week we're going to have a gentleman here. We're going to be talking about Tasso area. So we're going North Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then the following week we got Boog Shirley coming down to talk about South Cleveland. So we're going to cover town. We don't know about West Cleveland yet.
Is anybody from West Cleveland?
They moved.
You'd have to count that as Prospect, I guess.
Yeah, probably so. Then you get into Doyle Palmer and
Doyle Palmer and Doyle Withrow and Tinsley's and who else would be out in that area?
Yeah.
Arnold, where was your first job?
My first official job was work for Ken Albury at the Phillips 66 station across from Bradley Central.
Did you ever leave the doors open and leave?
Not that I remember.
I thought that there was a girl come by and next thing you know it, you left with the lights on and the door's still up. And Well, see, he's
I
trying
think
to
I
get
dated
that.
her.
Renee's listening now. Where's your first job, John?
Washing dishes at Mel's downtown. I was 14.
Mel Osmond.
Yep.
That's Clyde Osmond, his brother who ran the Grand Lodge.
He let me work in there washing dishes.
You never have
75 cents an hour.
Wow, you was making big buck. How much you make?
And I got the lunch
$2
free.
an hour.
Wow, you guys made big money.
I made the big money. I pumped gas.
You made how much?
$2 an hour.
Holy crap.
I went to work at the Dog and Suds, 40 cents an hour plus tips.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't no good, so I never got any tips.
I didn't get any tips either. I just run out and grabbed the gas pump and stuck it in the car.
Yeah, tips were pretty bad for dishwashers, too.
Hey, folks, it's time for our mid-morning break. Every Saturday, we play a song that we dedicate to those people who passed away. Of course, to honor this to R.D.'s father, a good listener of ours. Also, our old Tro Daddy, his mama passed away Wednesday or Thursday.
I think I saw it Friday, so it probably
I think it was on
Wednesday
the
or
2nd,
Thursday.
yeah. So this goes to Fro Daddy, Miss Renfro, and R.D.'s dad, and anyone else that lost family members. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll play a song called Gone Home and dedicate that to the people who passed.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Checking the cash, you got a brand new choice. Our flexible loans really making noise. Flex your money, my soul. Flex your money, my soul.
A check into cash flex loan puts you in control. Visit your nearest store for details.
Shape a flex loan to fit your needs. Make your next loan a flex loan and set yourself free. Flex your money muscle at checking the cash.
Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Yeah.
Hey folks, Glenn here from U.S. Money Shops. If you think all pawn shops are dark and dreary, then you haven't been to U.S. Money Shops. From hard-to-find items to unique jewelry to the latest electronics, we have it. And guns, we have a huge selection of guns in a variety of colors from a variety of manufacturers. And when you buy any gun at U.S. Money Shops, you get a box of ammo and a case absolutely free. So come see what I'm talking about. Any of our 12 U.S. Money Shops locations in Tennessee and Georgia. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Buy or sell or buy today. A better way at U.S. Money Shops.
Matthews Pool and Spa Company, located in Cleveland, Bradley County for over 45 years. You know them. They're your new swimming pool construction and supply company in Cleveland, Tennessee, now with 4 generations of Matthews to serve you. Matthews Pool and Spa Company, for over 45 years, your swimming pool construction and supply company, spa or hot tub installation and maintenance. Get all of your supplies for your pool or spa right now. That's the new location in the old Quinn Electric Company building behind KFC at 2724 Keith Street in Cleveland. Call Matthews now, 476-4521. You better get your order in now for your new pool construction for this spring and summer. 476-4521. Matthews Pool and Spa Company. Gonna jump in. Woo!
They have gone home. sadly say they have gone home, they have gone home. They joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets of pure gold. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home, they have gone home, gone home, they have gone home. They joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets of pure gold. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. Where'd the old town go? They moved it on north of here to the shopping mall. Where'd the old town go? Did my hometown get old, or just me? Did all my friends get old, or just me? Are they all gonna have to be told, or just me?
Hey, we're back. What's the name of the show? No, that's not it. Hey, hey, you're listening to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. What's those numbers?
Those numbers are 614-5553, or if you happen to be out of the area, 423-614-5553.
They're just alike, except you have a 423 at the beginning, right?
And hey,
Yeah.
somebody's already called us. Caller, you are now live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey, everybody, this is Fro Daddy calling in live on Saturday morning.
Hey, Fro, sorry to hear about your mom.
Yeah, hey, that's why I was calling in, Ron. I just happened to be listening around, running around, and going to the Rebel for breakfast in the Bank of Cleveland to deposit my money so they can have it. And I was listening. I heard you say that was very nice. Thank you. Fro Mama would love it.
Yeah, she's, how old was she, Fro?
95. She'd have been 96 in January.
Well, she had a good long life.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it even longer for her, probably.
Oh, well, she may be at 100 if it hadn't been for you.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but the funniest thing is, she used to call in as Fro Mama and do the jokes and all that.
Yeah.
And Matador made up some story about how she invented the leash and had her kids on leashes, and she was so mad that she quit listening to my show.
Oh.
And my show was the only thing she had. She was blind and couldn't watch TV, and she looked forward to my show every day. And Matador said that, and made her so mad she hated Matador to the end, and actually wanted me to get Casey Stokes to sue him.
Well,
So I thought that was pretty funny,
I used to love her jokes. They were always good and corny, but they were always fun.
Oh, but yeah, I just want to call in. I know you guys got people. I know Sid's trying to call back in, so I'm hurry and hang up.
Well, you got to catch up with him. You got to call 3 more times, Pro.
All right, I look forward to hearing from him Monday too.
Okay, like I say, sorry about your mom, but she had a great life.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody that said something and thought about it. And appreciate you guys.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I didn't realize she'd got to 95. I knew she was in her 80s, but gosh, time flies at 95.
Mm-hmm.
Great lady. I know stories about them when they filmed Wild River here. I think that her and Lawrence and that was his dad's name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lawrence Riffro. And they had dinner with them all the time. So a lot of good stories for that family.
Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
There's some flyers going right after our
All right, next caller, please. Lord, person. There's no caller out there that should call 6 times in the morning. Okay, I just want to tell you that. We'll be glad to take anybody once or twice, but 6 times is a little ridiculous, particularly when you ain't talking about what we're talking about. Here you go.
Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland. Hello?
I don't think they're there.
Yep.
All right. Now we'll move on. We're going to play a song that John wrote about East Cleveland, right? So here it goes.
James Hampton and I are working on a new little album called Excessive. And I thought I would write a little something for the East Cleveland folks and put on there. So, Sue, if you listen to them, this is about our old gang.
Here we go.
That's John Cook's new song he wrote about East Cleveland called Can't Make It On Your Own. If you people don't know, John is the writer and sings our opening theme song, Old Town Cleveland. John did that song. It's just called Old Town. That ain't the name of the song, but it's called Old Town, and we just use it Old Town Cleveland because it's very appropriate for what we do.
Yep.
So we thank John for that. And also a new album coming up is Fat Cats 2.
If you didn't get enough Fat Cats 1,
Fat Cats 2 there. That's John and I's newest album coming out.
It's bigger, it's badder, and it's
We appreciate it if the
immensely
three
badder.
of you, the three of you that bought the
Yeah, the
first
three
one
that bought the first one, they'll buy one this time. You know, it'd be a lot better.
That'd be 6.
Anyway, caller, you are now live on Old Town Cleveland.
John's voice needs to be a little loud.
John's voice needs to be a little louder. Gotcha.
Louder.
Louder. Gotcha.
Sid, stop calling. I'm sorry, folks. I take everybody's call, but that's 7 times this morning, and he talked about what we're talking about. So stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. We don't talk about politics, and we don't talk to Sid. There's the 2 rules now. I'm sorry. They got me hot now, don't they?
Yeah.
All right, get me out of this.
Calm down, Ron.
We're going to call here.
Caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Oh,
Hello?
that was an awesome song.
Thank you.
I don't know if it was the recording of it or maybe your equipment, but the music was overpowering the lyrics. I mean, I could hear it a little bit, but and like I said, the music was much louder. And I don't know if y'all could digitally remaster or something. And I'm not complaining. Please don't think that, because I love the song, love the music, and the tune was great as well. But the voice just wasn't coming through real great.
Okay.
So, sometimes the radio will lose some of the bass or treble, and that will happen. So, but it's good to know what it sounds like on the radio, because John owns his own recording studio, so he could adjust it this afternoon.
Okay, just wanted to let you know that.
Hey, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. We don't mind constructive criticism, do we?
Absolutely not.
Particularly like you hear it in the recording studio, and this is great. And you go play it on a cheap car stereo, and you don't hear half of it. So that used to be one of the things we do. We'd record an album, then we'd go out and play it on my old car stereo and see if we could still hear it.
Yeah.
If you could hear it there, it was pretty good. So
You know, there's something in East Cleveland that we've never really mentioned.
Uh-oh.
Cleveland
Not supposed
Housing
to talk
Authority.
about that, are we?
Cleveland Housing Authority.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was the
Gonna talk
first.
about the cockfight.
No, we wasn't going to talk about that. That's
Oh, there's some over there.
yeah. I know that. I could hear them at night sometimes over there. But I kind of did a little bit of research and looked at some stuff, and I'm not really for sure about that. But one of the earliest housing authority projects in Cleveland was done in East Cleveland. It was right on the corner of Galt Street and 11th and 15th.
Yeah.
Right across from Brown Stove Works, and that property was purchased in 1962, 63. I wrote it down. I don't even remember it. 1962. And one of the things I remember about that project when it was under construction, which I was very young at that particular time, but I do remember this. Mom would hang her washing out to dry because we didn't have a dryer or anything like that. And the next thing you knew, the bulldozers was going to work over there, and all of her clothes were wound up dirty again just by hanging on the clotheslines.
Good old red dirt and that wetness.
Yeah.
People didn't have dishwashers. We didn't have microwaves.
No. I mean, you cooked. And that was one of the things when I remember very young, one of the earliest memories I have is I remember those big machines over there moving all that dirt, and then Mom really upset about her clean clothes being dirty when she brought them in off the line. So,
Of course, I bet as a young boy, you sit over there and watch that bulldozer go back and forth all day long.
exactly right. As a 4 or 5 year old little boy, that was such an exciting time to watch that big earth moving equipment work. And that field had been a pasture before that. I remember it being a pasture. I remember the bulldozers coming in and doing all that. And then I think one of the earliest offices for Cleveland Housing Authority was actually on 11th Street as part of that project.
Well, yeah, that's still a housing authority project now, even after being remodeled 3 or 4 times since then, I'm sure. But it's still active there.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that was a huge influx of kids at that particular time that was going to Mayfield, because that was a very new project. Whenever I started first grade, and whenever you saw the kids, there was a group of kids that lived in other parts of the neighborhood, Mike Dyer and Larry Pippinger and Tim Jones and a couple of others like that. But I knew them all. And then all of a sudden, here's this influx of kids, and it was just huge groups of kids crossing the railroad tracks, and they would go into that project. That's where they was living at that particular time. So,
was right down there below your house was it M.A. Tomlinson or A.J. Tomlinson's house?
A.J., I think it is.
Right there behind the little store?
Yes. Yeah.
So A.J. was the old man. He goes to Jessup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but was that marked when you was a little boy, or was it just a house then?
It wasn't marked by a stone or anything, but it did have a little sign on the front porch across where you walked into the house, the Tomlinson house. And when I was going to school, 4th and 5th grade, my dad's best friend that he grew up with over there, Dennis Elliott, was living there while he was going to seminary school. So I got to wander around that house at will with his sons and daughters, and we was always into something around there anyway.
Does anybody actually live in that house now, or is this sort of a museum, or just...
I really don't know what it is right now. But at that time, and up till the time that I actually moved out of that neighborhood and moved across town to my grandmother's house, it was a private residence even then. Typically, it was occupied by seminary students that would, that needed some financial aid or something to get through the seminary school. So,
John, where did your mom go to church when you lived over in East Cleveland?
Pine Hill Church of God.
Still went down south?
All the way down in McDonald. That's where she grew up, in the Pine Hill area, and that's where she...
Now, let me ask you, when you was a little boy and the rest of you were little, did you all go? Sunday morning, Sunday night?
Yeah.
Wednesday meeting?
Whether you wanted to or not. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and every now and then she'd give us a reprieve on Wednesday night. That was mostly adults, but you were there Sunday morning?
All right, let me ask you. Did your dad always...
Dad was there, too, except he was out in the parking lot sitting in the car smoking a cigarette.
I started saying, did your dad always have to go?
Not always, but
where did your mom go to church at over there?
Made him go a few times.
Well, Mom really didn't go to church, but my grandmother went to East Cleveland Church of God, where my father and grandmother went through. My mother actually went to Red Hill Methodist when she went.
So she's down in the country, too. Go ahead there.
All righty, caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Ron.
How are you?
Well, I'm better than I was last week.
Well, that's good to hear.
But how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
When you first came on, you sound like you'd stepped on a frog.
Well, I stepped on 2 frogs this morning. Now, I've got some problems with my some laryngitis, and the doctors are trying to treat me on that, and so I've got this problem for the next couple of weeks. But I sound like somebody new every day.
Yeah, I don't like to have that bronchitis and all myself. But it's good to hear John this morning, too.
Well, John's doing well. He likes wild turkey better than he does that Jack Daniels, so you'll have to get wild turkey from him.
Actually, I got some of that new whiskey, the first that was made in Chattanooga since Prohibition.
Oh, really?
My son Chris got me a bottle here about a month or so.
Have you tried it?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Now, let's listen to that guy. I'm telling you. But John is good to hear you this morning, though, because I've always liked you. You can tell some of the awful stories.
I like it. You tell terrible stories.
The stories are awful. Please keep telling them.
You gotta laugh at him. You can't sit still. I mean, I've liked that man so much. But anyway, where's my lady friend?
She's over in Middle Tennessee at a Tennessee Trail of Tears meeting.
Oh, is she? Well, okay.
I had the choice to either go with her or stay here with these two. I think I made the wrong decision.
And leave me alone.
She at what kind of meeting?
Tennessee Trail of Tears.
Oh. I used to date an Indian girl.
Arapaho?
I dated a few of them.
What kind?
A Arapaho. I dated a Navajo. I dated a Chattanooga
girl. Yeah.
Okay, Rod, I'll talk with you later, babe. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
She always calls. She really wants to beg for Jack Daniels, and she's just ashamed to do it on the air.
Bless her.
Oh, Lord. So,
one of these days she's going to get you, Ron.
Yeah, she is.
I can't believe David left us with the keys to this show.
Oh, I know. Deb says, well, this will either be the craziest show or the longest show you ever had. I don't know what.
I think it's a little of both.
Little both, yeah. So,
Got some Sprite left, so.
Morgan says, I need some energy.
Sprite's dangerous.
Folks, we're talking about East Cleveland area and going from East Cleveland down into downtown, shopping, and, of course, going to the Princess Theater, going to the Spot. You can call us here at what numbers?
614-5553, or if you're out of the area, 423-614-5553.
And for our people out of this galaxy?
423-614-5553. It took me a minute because I wasn't sure which one he was going to ask me to do. I thought he was going to say out of this country or out of this galaxy. I wasn't sure.
I got a question for John. Do you remember the bus service?
The bus service.
We had a small bus service here, and I don't remember when it started. It ended early in the 60s. But I remember going to the Martin Theater a few times, and we actually caught the bus right outside the Central Drug Store and rode it out to the corner of Poplar and 6th or Benton Pike, depending on how you want to term it right there, going home a few times.
And I never wrote it, but I kind of, I do.
Okay.
That was later on, though.
Let me ask you a question. When did it change from Princess to Martin?
It was always Martin that I knew of.
Well, it was Princess from 1925 until when? 60s? Early 60s?
In the
Late
60s, because in the 60s, when my brother and I were going there, it was Martin Theater.
Yeah. So when I started going to theater, my aunt took me to.
That's all I really
say it is
knew
known
that
as Martin.
was Martin.
What was the first movie you saw at the Princess or Martin? Do you remember?
I saw Bambi.
All
My
right.
aunt took me to see Bambi.
How about you, John?
You only live twice.
I saw that darn cat.
That darn cat.
Yeah, Disney.
Yeah.
That darn cat.
Oh.
DC.
Yeah.
Never saw that. I still remember the first movie I ever saw at the Starview was Your Cheating Heart.
I saw, first one I remember was Hot Toddy.
We must have a jazzercise class going on somewhere close.
The dance studio next door is dancing.
what
Yeah,
that is?
they're dancing this morning.
Shout out to them.
Heck, let's boogie.
They're rocking down over
Pretty
there.
sure they don't want to see me boogie. once your 10th grade English teacher tells you you don't dance that well, you kind of just lose all confidence in
right.
yourself.
I used to boogie woogie, but now I just boogie mostly.
So, somebody just heard us talking about it next door because they looked in the door smoking at the southwest mall.
Bunch of old men over here. Turn it
down. Turn it down.
Hey, what are you talking about?
John and I have not learned that lesson yet about turn it down.
Heck no.
We're old rock and rollers.
My grandkids thought the house was falling apart last night. Was watching the Black Sabbath's final concert, and I had it
Of
turned
course, that's why my earphones are turned up full blast, too, though.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, caller, you're now live on Old Town Cleveland.
Woodstock and Elvis on tour.
All right. Thanks for that call. Help me, Jesus.
Oh,
Keep me through the lamppost.
I don't think you're going to find Jesus.
Keep me through the goalpost of life. You know, that's what I need right now. What that Chris Christopher song?
Is that or is that like a drop kick?
Yeah, drop kick me through the goalpost of life.
What if I was dexterous enough?
I need to go to the restroom.
Well, I'm glad you shared that with us. Oh, Lord.
Need a few calls from East Cleveland this morning.
Where's Steve's self at? Steve usually calls when you're over here.
Hadn't heard from Stephen.
We need to. Steve would tell us where the cockfights were today.
Oh yeah,
Not where they used to be. Where we could go.
You tell us where to head tonight.
Steve called in one day and said, "I know where the cockfights are." And he started. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, Steve." Why? It says law enforcement listens to this program. You don't want to tell them where. And we won't tell him what your last name is, will we, Steve? He said, and I said, "Don't tell him, Steve." But I guess the little bar rooms and things were a lot more than they used to be now. But, of course, you know, we don't remember as kids, but there was more little honky-tonks than we have now.
Yeah, there was one down at the end of Poplar Street, right across from the little coal yard down there. That was down there.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
Fats, or I think it's called Fats.
Had plenty of bootleggers.
And Dad could tell a few stories about being in there back in his young days. And some of those were not very pleasant. Some of them was kind of funny. But you had that place, then you had 2 or 3 of the bootleggers over there that still was in existence when I was in my mid to late teens. So
how'd you know that?
Well, word of mouth gets around. That's
like everybody else. Was sitting in the front seat of the car when Dad pulled through.
Yeah, one of them was the original drive-through, I think, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, the first drive-through was Rusty's.
Yeah.
Rusty got the idea first.
Yeah.
I happened to be in the front seat one Saturday morning when Dad pulled through. Arm come reaching out. I said, "Wow, there's an interesting concept."
Rusty's is, if people don't know where that is, that's where you turn in to go to the Walmart over off Dalton Pike.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was Rusty's. Then there was Runyon's or Nub Stevenson's.
And Snorts.
Snorts. And I've got a picture of Snorts.
Do you?
Yeah, I didn't recognize him from his elbow back though. I could from his elbow.
I don't
down,
think anybody.
I knew him a lot.
All the local bootleggers though, they supported the community.
Yes.
First to donate for the food drives and the Christmas drives. Big supporters of the sheriff's department.
Yes. So there's a few contributions.
I wasn't going to go there. You would know more about that than myself.
Yep.
They did not.
Further down the rabbit hole, why don't we?
They did not always give money.
Big supporters of law enforcement.
They would give a couple of cases of half pints that you handed out at election time, but they didn't always give money.
Not always, but they did.
Oh yes.
They were contributors.
There's one over near East Cleveland School right now, but as you went in front of East Cleveland School, where it turned back to the right.
Yeah, but I can't remember the name of it.
You just, if you was coming the other way, you pulled right straight into his carport, got out, and knocked on his back door, and you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Of course, C.O. Pittner's over there in the ward.
Yep.
He had it.
Flatheads.
Flathead. So that wasn't a bootlegger, but that sure was a bar.
Yeah. Yeah, it finally closed up the doors after somebody drove through the side of it here a couple of years ago.
They did a little bootlegging there, too.
So that was the city limits at one time right there at Flatheads.
It still is the city limits.
Is it still the city limits?
Of all the city limits line around Cleveland, Tennessee, from 64 Highway to 20th Street is the same city limits line that it was when I was growing up as a kid. And John was a kid as well.
They just don't want to annex that and pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just forgot to move the sign.
Yeah.
All right, caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron. This is Doyle Palmer bothering you again.
Hey, Doyle, how are you, bud?
done all right today. I heard y'all talking about the assembly earlier.
Yes.
One of the big highlights of the assembly was the Bahama brass band.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
I worked at Cook's Food, and they used to, one day they used to march around through town and play their music, and that was really a big event, and everybody enjoyed them. And another thing is, over there at the ice cream store, y'all remember the snowball machine?
Yes.
They used to have that big block of ice, and they'd scrape the snowball, and a lot of people enjoyed that.
Yeah, I've got a picture of them out there doing that.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to mention those things for you. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks, Noel.
All right.
Noel Palmer, one of our longtime friends and guests here on the program. And
I remember the Bahamas band setting up in front of the Tabernacle just about every year and playing at least one night every year, and that was always a treat to go over and listen to them.
Of course,
back during that time, there were two major events here in Braddock, and that was the county fair and the General Assembly. And both of those you look forward to, especially as a kid.
Well, both of those things now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not really sure when the last assembly held here was, but it's not the same, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same for them either.
I mean, they've had them here, but it's not quite.
Of course, they moved up
on
on Keith Street.
Yeah.
All righty, caller, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Thank you. Arnold?
Yes?
This is Brenda.
I knew that was that life.
I did not know that you lived so close to Galt Street when you was little.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't meet you until you lived over there in front of Arnold School, down that street in front of Arnold School.
Yeah, I grew up over on Poplar Street. Used to play football in your grandmother's front. I think it's your grandmother's front yard with Greg.
Well, glory be. I guess I just didn't know who you was because I was always at my mama's house.
Yeah, right there on Galt Street, right down there next to the creek.
Yeah, she lived right beside the creek.
Yeah, the Dyers lived across the street from her, and Pippingers lived up the street.
Right. Yeah, because Mary Pippinger was my best friend.
Yeah. Well, Jeannie was a little bit closer to my age.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeannie was, she was younger than Mary.
Yeah.
Well, we won't talk about Larry at all.
What?
We won't talk about Larry Pippinger at all, will we?
You sound muffled up on me, Ron.
I am muffled up. I'm sorry.
No, he said we won't talk about Larry at all.
Oh, well, Larry was younger than me, and I didn't know Larry as well as I did the girls.
Yeah, Larry was a little bit younger than I was, and yeah, we got into trouble a few times.
A few times.
Knowing Larry, I can picture that.
Yeah, we had caused a little bit of trouble over at the Ready Mix plant.
The Ready Mix plant.
Yeah.
What y'all do at the Ready Mix plant?
Well, nothing really bad, you know. They had the creek that went through the culvert underneath the garage over there, and we kind of got into it with some of the mechanics one day and snuck a smoke bomb in the building on them.
Oh, my Lord. There's some people that say, now, they's just boys when boys do that, but that ain't the way I think.
Knowing you've been right in the middle of it if you've been with us.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. Anyway, I was just going to tell you that I sure didn't know you was probably down at my mama's playing with Greg a lot of times. I just didn't know who you were.
Yeah, Greg and I and a couple of others always playing football in the fall out there in the front yard.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say. Imagine that.
Yeah, and of course your Uncle Hootie lived right up the street there from Vest at that time too.
up the street from Vest.
Yeah, you go in up to the top of the hill and turned in behind Vest and went down over towards the railroad.
Yeah, 'cause I used to live at Mama's house.
Yeah.
I remember now. Yeah, they did.
See, I got proof that I actually lived in the neighborhood. I know where everybody lived.
That's when I used to go to Dooley's all the time, 'cause they live close enough to Dooley's that I just walked over there.
Yep, we did a lot of walking.
Yeah, I done a whole lot of walking. Well, I'm going to let you go. I know somebody else will want to talk, and we don't want to get somebody revved up wanting to talk, so I'll get off of here.
Hey, Brenda, I didn't know you till you played that floozy in that movie down there in Georgia.
What?
I didn't know you till you played that floozy down in that movie in Georgia.
I wasn't no floozy. I just was a dancer.
In some old country bar in Georgia, that's a floozy.
Ain't nothing wrong with being a floozy. Not one doggone thing.
I dated a whole lot of them.
I dated a floozy. I did. Old man Floozy's daughter. I remember her.
I have no trouble with Brenda being a floozy back then.
No.
I like floozy.
She'll get over it. And Brenda will get over being a floozy someday, I'm sure you.
When I was growing up, I preferred a good floozy. Heck yeah.
Well, I'm going to let y'all go before it gets any deeper.
That's too late.
Let's just see how much further the rabbit hole can go.
I ain't even started down it yet.
You hadn't started down the hill yet?
I've not started down it yet.
Okay, I'll talk to y'all later. See you, Arnold.
See you later, Brenda.
Bye, Brenda. She was in that movie, The Nights Lights Went Out in Georgia.
Yes.
She said she was a dancer, but she was in a bar down in Georgia. Bunch of honky-tonk pickers. That's a floozy.
Just find the credits of the movie. And
Yeah,
see
that's
what
it.
the creditor is.
Right there it says, it didn't say dancers, it said floozies.
I remember one night.
Well, there you go then, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember one night the lights went out over in East Cleveland.
What'd you do?
Well, apparently didn't pay the utility bill. But my Uncle James was over and they were going to play cards. The lights went out.
I don't know about that, but I know the lights went out every time we come about a thunderstorm,
well,
too.
They went out, and it's because the bill hadn't got paid. So James said, hell, I know how to fix that. He went outside and popped in glass out, and you had to turn it back on. They did. They turned it on, played cards all weekend, turned it back off Monday to go pay the bill. Let them come turn it back on. But
It's got a little bit more complicated now, hasn't it?
probably a little
Certainly.
bit. A little bit.
Oh, they can do that from the office now. They don't even have to come out to turn you on or off anymore.
A little bit harder to bypass today.
Did what you had to do. Somebody out there at Cleveland Utilities right now is trying to go back and figure out if we owed them anything.
Well, when we were growing up, we didn't have cable television, folks. Many of you listeners didn't. And the worst thing that could happen on any night through the week would be what?
The president's speech.
Yeah. Oh, God, that was so bad.
That nailed it. All three channels.
All three channels would have the president on. And like Batman might be on. Part 2 of Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That was terrible. It was that bad. It was that
That's the one she rated.
It was that bad.
WOP does
See,
not
Batman
endorse
came on
language
Monday
used in
night.
this program.
No, we do not.
Monday night, and after 30 minutes it says, tune in tomorrow at the same bat time at the same bat channel to find out what happened. Well, you wouldn't know. The president had been talking.
Curse the president.
You just catch it later that night on demand.
There was no on demand was at 8 o'clock.
Oh, brother.
Did you ever have to stand outside and turn the antenna for your daddy?
Heck yeah.
Actually, I never had to do that.
We had aluminum foil strung all over that living room sometimes.
But it would get adjusted. I just never had to go outside and turn the antenna.
Go ahead.
Dad would go out and turn the antenna, and Mom would watch the TV until he got
Oh, well,
tuned in.
you lucky.
Oh, Dad wasn't going to entrust that job to Mom.
But I always had to stand in the window between Mom and Dad and relay the messages.
Well, I would go outside and I'd turn it. My dad yell and turn it. Finally, I'd just stand there and he'd go, "Turn a little more. That's good. Stop right there." And I'd be standing there going, "Okay."
My dad had a satellite at one point, and it was just going crazy at one point. Then all of a sudden it stopped, and I'm like, "What? It just stopped." And my dad just looks at me and goes, "Yeah, I stopped it with the power of my mind." And I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, that I did that a few times.
Rabbit ears. That was
Rabbit ears, yeah.
Had the switch on it. You could switch it to
Yeah.
UHF.
Yeah.
Ketch had we had one UHF channel out in Chatsworth, somewhere
Yeah.
in Georgia.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we had a TV show on that.
Yeah, well,
what was it? WFLI.
WFLI TV. We did a TV show.
Yeah, Ron had a TV show about 3 years. You probably didn't see it.
Probably not.
Probably not.
If you'd like to have a copy, we do have it on DVD. You can have the whole 3-year set for $79.95 or $59.95.
What about Blu-ray?
It's $7
Or VHS?
$7. You have to pay your own shipping at $7. So
Matter of fact, if you pay the shipping, I'll send you one for free. Just to know somebody watched it.
we only got, we had a million seller one time.
Mm-hmm.
We made 1 million albums. They're still in the cellar.
Bada
And we played-
bing, bada boom.
Then we played for CBS one year, Cleveland Bus Station. We was having a grand opening down there. And we do all those bad jokes.
That wasn't the old bus station. That had to be the new bus station.
Yeah, that's the new bus
The old
station.
bus station was down in South Broad.
Yeah, it sure was. That building's still there.
The building is still there. It's been a dance studio
It's
and
been flooded
been flooded.
many times.
Yeah. It's interesting when you go back and look at where things have moved to and where they used to be. That's so strange at times when you say something was in one place and people look at you like, what?
Where was Walmart when you guys were growing up?
Oh, good grief.
Wasn't this city?
First Walmart I ever remember is one on the south end in here now. There wasn't one there at
25th Street.
25th Street is the first one I remember.
And then
Walmart?
That was the Walmart.
Yeah.
And then it moved to the one on Key Street where we played for the grand opening. John, you were almost there.
I was.
If you hadn't tried to drown that morning, it would have been a lot better show.
If I didn't try. If I'd tried to drown, I'd have been drowned.
So you were trying.
Where was the first Lowe's?
South Lee Highway.
Yep. It's a church now.
Yeah, sure is.
The Lowe's Church.
I think the closest thing we ever had to Walmart when we were younger was Gibson's Discount Center.
Yes.
You could get everything in there.
Yeah. Oh, we was going, wow, this is a neat place,
That's where we bought our musical instruments.
I bought my first bass guitar in there.
Bought a Gibson there. It wasn't the Gibson. It was a Gibson.
Before that, you had to get your black diamond strings at Cooper's Bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things rip the hide off of.
This was before our time, but you had to buy your own school books. You went to Cooper's Bookstore to buy your school books.
Yeah.
You didn't get your books free in school. You had to buy them.
No. And you always when you went to school and got your books after the city started giving you books, you always get your name written in the back that you had that book. It's always fun to go through there later on and see who all had that book before you.
Yeah.
I always hope I had a smart person and they underlined the answers.
Yeah.
That would always. I never had a smart person though.
Sometimes that happened in, I don't know, was it high school or middle school, where I would hope, because we didn't have to buy our own textbooks, we could just get them off the shelf.
Yeah.
And I would be hoping in vain, please let me have one that has, like, the answers underlined or something, or at least them written somewhere and so I can make them out.
Of course, now, John and I were at Bradley High School before it left the old school. And there was something very special during that time. Principal Bill Schultz did not allow us to have hair touching our ears, our collars, no sideburns, could not touch your eyebrows. No beard, no facial hair whatsoever.
Probably would not have liked it there then.
Well, you went there or you didn't go. And,
At that time, there's no alternative.
but the good news thing is, he did not like girls wearing pants. Pantsuits were totally out. But they wore mini skirts. And we had 3 stories of stairs.
And some of the best looking girls in Bradley County during those years.
You had to, when the class ended, you had to hurry. You had to hurry to get to the bottom of the stairs to stake out you a good spot.
Ron Moore.
What?
You know, you're a radio personality. You do know that, right? Well, I know you know it because you tell me every week that you're a radio
Yeah,
personality.
well, okay. Yeah. Statute of limitations.
It's not run out.
Yes, it has.
Ask Weinstein and some of these folks.
I didn't touch none of them.
Yeah, but
You weren't standing there next to me.
you watch. You're going to get a phone call now to the station.
Were
Some
you-
girl
By the
said
way, you
that-
can call us here at 614-5553, or if you're out of the area, 423.
Were you standing next to me?
5553.
Now that she knows you were looking up those stairs.
Were you standing next to me?
No, probably not.
You have to stop there for a second.
Probably
Probably
not.
I do.
Sometimes the lie's worse than the crime. You remember that, don't you?
I do remember the time now at the old Bradley High School. You got to remember the way it was set up. At one end of the building was the upstairs. You could only go up the stairs. At the other end of the building were the downstairs. Why they had it set up like that, I don't know. You know, most stairs you see now, you can go up and down them, but these were strictly up. One set down, and they were stenciled, a big sign there. Well, I'd got like, I don't know, 2 months detention one time. Actually, I got 3 months detention once.
When you lock,
Yeah, most people got it.
when you
within an
lock a
hour.
teacher in a closet, you're going to get detention.
All right.
Is that what you did?
Yes, that's what he did.
It was kind of an accident.
Kind of an accident.
Kind of an accident.
Which teacher?
But no, it started out with a couple of months detention. We were going to paint every weekend, painting. And we found we'd painted those walls at the stairwells, and they had stencils for you to paint the up arrows and the down arrows. We decided it would be funny. It was during the summer break, and we were working off detention. We reversed them. And all these, the sophomores and up that knew which stairs were which. Now, the freshmen didn't know. They just followed the arrows, but it was a mess. We had people going up and going down at the same time. That just wasn't heard of. We'd reversed those signs. I think we got a little bit of detention for that, but yes, I was party to locking the. It was all in fun. Though. It wasn't. It's not like it sounds.
Did Miss Close think it was fun?
She's my friend. I love her.
But you locked her in the closet.
No. The door got closed somehow.
Well, then how did the padlock get on that door?
I don't know. You can ask Mr.
It just happened.
You can ask
to fall
And the
in
key was
place.
in the closet with Miss
You
Close.
can ask Mr. Donahue. He's the one that made the rescue.
Yep, the padlock, ladies and gentlemen, just fell onto the door and magically locked itself.
Sometimes you immediately know something's just a bad idea, and
And you did it anyway.
you get past. I was there and went into a 28-year career in law enforcement.
That was part of your penalty for. But we must admit that he did not do this by himself. Shane Lowe was his accomplice.
I ain't gonna say that,
I just did.
and I don't remember.
This guy never forgets to know this stuff.
I have no recollection.
Just says everything with a straight face.
I have no recollection of any of this.
Remember, the lie's always bigger than the crime.
Well, even Mueller can get me on this.
Hey, guys, we're about coming up on the top of the hour here. Arnold, anything we had talked about East Cleveland you want to share with anybody?
It was a fun time growing up. Got into a lot of trouble. Got out of a lot of trouble. and enjoyed life over there. It was a simpler time. You know, you played ball in the backyards and side yards. You had a lot of friends that you played with, sometimes fought with, and made up with again, and went and played some more.
I miss it. I miss it. And I miss some of the people. Not all of them, but I miss some of them. I usually, even now at Christmas, usually a few days before Christmas, I get in the car and drive over through there. Just kind of check the place out. Of course, the street that I lived on, everything's gone or run down or fallen down.
Is your house still there that you live in?
No, it's just empty lot right now. I think there was a trailer on it here a few years
How about yours, Arnold? Is your house still there?
Yeah, it is still there. It's and I still remember the address, 1050 Poplar Street.
1050 Poplar. You know, times have changed. You know, that was a large population of our community lived in that area.
Yeah.
And now today, of course, we've spread out a whole lot more now.
You know, it was kind of funny whenever you go through, and I'm sure John has some of this memory too, is that the names that lived over there when we was growing up at that time is names that the community all knows.
Oh, yeah.
The Bentons, the Brights.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of names over there that people know and remember. So
It was a good time. It was a good time.
Well, I think it was an amazing time. As you said, as a young man, to walk or get on your bicycle and be gone all day long.
Yeah. Leave at 9 o'clock in the morning.
You know, that's just something in our society we just don't see happen at all now. If you hadn't seen your kid in 10 minutes, you're probably looking out the window to make sure they're still there.
You don't let your kids leave the yard now without the cell phone with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cell phone. We didn't even know what that was.
I'd leave the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, come home at lunch, eat by lunch, and I'd be gone to supper time, come home, eat supper, and I'd be gone to dark.
Yes, Halloween just last Tuesday night. Halloween night, when did you leave the house? When did you get home?
Generally, pretty much at dusk, and I probably get home between 8:30 and 9 most nights.
So 6 to 9, something like that?
We'd be out close to midnight.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't that far. There was a group of us out on Spring Place. We'd go a mile down Spring Place, cross the road, come a mile back, then go a mile the other way and a mile back. Then we'd go to the subdivision behind our house up there, where Tobe McKenzie and the Kirklands lived. And
my gang and I, we'd hang out to around, we'd trick-or-treat to about 9:30 or 10, but then we'd hang out to around 11:30 till, well, I'm not going to name his name, but until he went to bed, because we'd always go out on his place and turn his outhouse over, and then that was the end of Halloween.
So I never did anything.
One
with
year
it.
we didn't turn it over, we just picked it up and set it back about 5 feet.
Oh, that's even worse. That's really bad now.
Most definitely.
Wow. Hey, folks, you've been listening to Old Town Cleveland here today, and I'd like to thank Arnold and John for coming in and sharing their stories about East Cleveland and all the other information that we shared with you. Every week we try to tell people to get some pictures from out from under the bed and get some archival ink and archival labels and start putting names and all those pictures. I found a box full of pictures the other day from the Cleveland area. It has 3 pictures of people looks like from the 1920s. No names on it. Big groups of pictures of people. Have no idea who they're ever going to be, most likely. I posted one of them on Facebook. They said, that's a great picture. Don't know who it is. So please do that. And next week we'll be here, 10 to 12. We'll have can't remember the gentleman's name. He's coming from the Tasso area. And you'll find out why Tasso is called Tasso. It's not what you think.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we'll always remember Pearl Harbor, but
Will we remember Aunt Pearl?
and we'll see you next week here on Old Town Cleveland.
Say bye, Ron.
Bye, Ron.
If I can find the mouse. There we go. See you all later.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Another SOS.
rising, and that's the time to check in. I check in the cash, check in. When you have a cash emergency, you check in. We understand the urgency. Check in to get your loans and more. You gotta